Hello everybody. It's nice to talk to you in this way, in this crazy period. Of course, I hope everybody is well. First of all, I want to excuse me for my English. It's not the best, but I will try, and I hope you learn something. Maybe one or two things that help you to become a better coach. I always watch webinars, maybe only for one or two things, and tomorrow you are a better coach. So hopefully, if you watch this, you're going to think about it tomorrow and you think, yeah, well, one or two things are going to add to my own. And then hopefully you're a better coach. So that's the goal of this presentation. And to, of course, to give you an inside look of how we work and what we do with these guys you see on the picture right now. Okay, Sean. Well, what we want to discuss is, first of all, we want to discuss scouting, then a bit of development way of play, how we train that, and what you can see back in our games. And we always have a two-day training session with the guys. We train them like 3 times a week, in 2 days, sorry, not in a week. So they come from all of Europe to Zeist, that's in Holland, is laying central in the woods in Holland. There we train with 20 plus 3 goalkeepers. So it's great. We have our own hotel in Zeist at the FA, and then we sleep there for one night and we train 3 times. So Sean, continue please. First of all, scouting. Sean, go on. Well, first of all, we have the scouts. We divided our age groups in 14 till 16. There we have like 15 scouts plus the coaches. From 17 till the reserves, we have every coach has his own scout. So they work together really tight. The first team has 3 coaches. They travel a lot because the players are playing Premier League, Bundesliga, League One, and so on. We cover every weekend like 100 to 150 games. Every Tuesday and Wednesday we come in at the Dutch FA and we discuss players who stand out. And every 6 weeks we're sitting with the head coach, Ronald Koeman, to talk about the youth players who come up, and they discuss what they saw in their 10 days of the international window. Of course, we go on Saturdays, we go to the games. For me as a coach, I see like 3 games in a weekend. We have a group app where we put the lineups on, and sometimes I see a player who can still play in under 17s, playing with under 19. So I ask the coach or the scout to watch him and call me after the game. So there's a bit how we work on a Saturday. So, and also what we do in Holland, and that's one of our unique selling points, I think, is when the player is good enough, he's old enough. So when a player is too good for under 17, it's not about the coach, it's about the player. So he needs to get more resistance in games, and then he goes up 1 team or 2 teams to get the resistance in the games. What we do as coaches, as FA coaches, is that we join sessions at the clubs. So I go for instance, 2 days to Feyenoord, 2 days to Ajax, and I will be actually on the pitch to join the sessions at the age groups where I have players from. So every coach does that. We show them presentations what we experience in our tournaments, and we discuss it, and we can talk about it, that we as a whole country are in the process of playing for your country, and what it is to play for that country. So together we achieve more, that's what they say. Well, you see already some pictures of players who play abroad. So we have Dylan Hogenwerf is playing Man United, Xavi Simons from Barcelona, now Paris Saint-Germain, and the 2 players up above is Noah Ohio and Owusu, who playing Leipzig. So I joined in February, for instance, I joined Leipzig Red Bull Leipzig for 2 days. I saw them on a Friday on a session. We just be on the pitch at the session. Of course, you have to make an appointment with the coach. We do that. They're always open to share and to talk about the players. We show some footage from the players, and they show footage of their team. And it's always nice to talk about football with each other. And you see the boys in their own environment. They're more relaxed, and they show their rooms, everything. It's really nice. And you know, you bond with each other, not only with the players, but also with the coaches. Last year, I also been to Hoffenheim, spent 3 days there, watched the session, watched a youth league game, and then in the evening I was lucky to join a game of the first team. So yeah, it's really nice to do that, and for me it's nice, but also to see the players in their own environment. Continue, please. Well, we go to football now, so you're gonna watch some footage. First of all, I'm going to talk about attack, and then I will explain the session, and then we go to some footage, and then here we go. Well, this is because we have a lack of time. We always start with a warm-up from position, but also the way we want to play. So what you see here is everybody's on his position. We play to the left and to the right. So it's right back, left back, winger, and central defenders and strikers on the same position. They don't swap from position. Only the three on the sideline, they swap like every time. Well, you see option one, it's in Dutch, but option one, the one who's at the start, he plays the ball to one of those players between the lines or on the line. If you don't get the ball, you make depth. It's the last 30 meters. You get a pass. You play it back to the striker, and he just try to get it into the goal. That's option one. Well, option two is our right back goes inside, and our winger comes to the sideline. We make a decision. We play one. And we make depth if you don't get the ball. Every time it's relaxed. It's not the highest tempo because it's still a warm-up. Then the last option, option three, we play in the half space and we try to play an early cross, or if you play the sideline, you get an early cross. This is at the end because it's the most tension on the muscle. So I explained it now, and now we go on to see how it looks like in the footage. Well, you see the right side, you see some mannequins. Yeah, just start. I hope it runs. It's a bit, I hope you see it. It's provoke dribble, get the ball, make that, and play it back. That's option one. Option two. So another time. Can you switch to option two, please? This is the left side. So the central defender is, they switch, half space, deep run, pass before the goal, try to score. Really simple, not the highest tempo, but this is our way of play we want to see in the games. So another time, it's provoke dribble to the mannequin. And the final option, so it's again a dribble, early cross, play. Dribble, the pass, and a cross from half space. Those are the three options we train just in the warm-up. So to make another step, we're gonna go to 11 aside. So, or if you have 10, you make 10. So you see here, it's attacking the final third. We go to 1. It's 3 against 2 on the sideline. They try to play out the 2 blue guys. Then we cross it in front of the goal and try to score. Then we go to the middle square. The both wingers come inside. So it's get 6 against 5. Try to score through the middle. And then the third one to the left side, it's 3 against 2. And then again, in front of the goal and try to score. This is how it looks in the session. You dribble, it's a 3 against 2. So it's almost the same what you saw in the warm-up. And now we continue it actually with defenders. So start from the left, end in the middle. So the wingers are getting inside now, between the lines. And they try to finish. Then the final one is to the left, 3 against 2. The wingers are outside again. And you get it finished. So you see from the warm-up, then this practice, it's quite the same. And so because we don't have a lot of time, we win time by doing the warm-up a bit like the same, like this. Okay, we continue. This is the game. So you see all these principles we just trained, we coming back like options, coming back in the game. So this is our game against Ireland. I hope it runs well at your place because it's stuttering at my place, but we have an appointment with each other. So if the ball is on the back line, we always cross it back to the penalty area. So here you see it. So the midfielder can play the goal, make the goal. So also again at the back line, you pull the cross back and you can score easily. It stops now. My excuses for the footage. Yesterday it runs really well, but the line is not so good. So we go to defense now. So we play in a low block and you see the area on the pitch we use. There's now, is where we also actually are as players. So the blue ones are the low block. Number 2 is the right back. The 7 drops a bit. The 6 is the defending midfielder and 9 is the striker, of course. They play against 4 orange guys. So the green keep on the left start with the ball. It's 2 against 1 plus the goalie. They try to break the lines by passing it through the area where the 2, the 7 and 6 of blue are, and they try to reach the 11 and 9 of the orange guys. For the blue team, it's really good to coach and to close the lines with each other. Yeah, now I want to see, you can see it in footage. Okay, first this clip, now go back please, go back please, go back please. This is another way of defense we have if we play 11 aside. So we're standing on half, it's not close to the man, but we stand in space. So we can leave our man and go to another man. You will see it in the footage down the next slide. So here's the game against England. You see a low block, we play a low block. Our striker press. We get the ball. It's in the same area where you saw the session. This is 11. This is the next session. They stand on half. Hopefully the line is better at your place because my footage is really poor. Excuse for that. Can continue, Sean. Can you go to the next slide, please? So I told you before, we have a two days training session. We train 3 times a week. You can go on. So the principle of our sessions is that we say we need 5 of those points who are standing here now. So it needs to have direction, scoring always from warm up till the end. Intensity must be high because the games we play are in a high intensity. It has to have 2 principles of play, always transition. So if we train attack, we always train transition to defend. And if we train defense, it's always transition to attack, attached. And it has to be decision making. So 5 out of 6, you have to add to your session. So now you see a transition. Yeah. So it's like a pyramid. You see the one at the orange player, he starts with a shot on target. When the ball goes in or goes next to the goal, the 2 other players of blue come inside and then they try to finish. If they don't finish, then 2 other orange guys come in and so on and so on. So at the end, you have 5 plus a goalie against each other. If that ends, you start again with 1 shot on target, 2 comes in, and so on. So here you see it in the session. You get a shot on target. Now 2 players come in from orange. Good run. Finish, 2 players extra. It's 3 against 2 now. Goal, it's 4 against 3 now. Now it's 5 against 4. And now the final player is coming in with his ball. It's 5 against 5 plus goalie. This is another transition game we play, we start first with the 3 defenders who's playing the 2 strikers of the opponent. So for instance, the opponent is playing 4-4-2 in defense, then is this something from the game we can train? So it's playing out 3 against 2. So when the 3 players score or play the ball next to the goal, 2 players of orange join the 2 other orange. So it's 4 against 3 in an overload. Yep, you can go. Here you see, you start 3 against 2. They finish, 2 players of blue coming in, it's 4 against 3. So now they have to defend. So we start with attack, first phase, always attach transition to it. So you get high intensity. Set pieces. Well, I want to start with a little quiz. Last week I had also a webinar only about set pieces because it's not because we have a lack of time, but just watch and hopefully you get the good answer. Sean, if you can count till 3 every time the question pops up, then they have some time to think about it and maybe they know the answer. So how many percentage goals are scored from set pieces in the Premier League? What do you think? So 30 to 35% goals scored with set pieces. So that's a lot. Next question. How many throw-ins in the Premier League per game? So just think about it. He says 30, 60. Ooh, it's close. Yes, Sean? It's 40 to 60 per game. So that's a lot of throw-ins. Last question. How many percent is the ball lost with a throw-in? It's nice to see all those answers. Yes, Sean, bring it in. 50 to 60% ball is lost with a throw-in. So this statistics means 3 things. Teams prepare really well with attacking set pieces. Teams defend poor with set pieces. And what we know at the start of every game, that we have to make 25 transitions when we have the ball. For example, you have 50 throw-ins a game, 50% is 25. So it's a lot of transition, I think, already. So knowing this, we start training at throw-ins. We have like 5 throw-ins, and the way we train it, I want to show you now. Not only throw-ins, but also set pieces and the result of it. So this is a throw-in. It's one mannequin who's standing there. You see the light blue jersey. He steps to the ball. We make 1 bounce, and then we make a deep run. And what we do is we do it with finishing. So we make it nice for the players. It's only 5 minutes this, and only 5 minutes the other throw-in. So you're gonna see 2 throw-ins, one with 1 player, and the second one is the player who takes actually the ball, bounces 2 times on the ground, and they know when to run. So you're gonna see it, and it's with finishing. So I think it's nice because players like finishing. Into the ball, make a deep run, and finish. So 2 bounces is with 2 players. They just switch from position, get the ball inside, try to score. And of course, the goal is not there, but I want to do it. So we isolate it and try to add it in the game. So now you're gonna see it's one bounce. The other one is with two bounces. This one is the one bounce. Yeah, just start it. So the right back is gonna bounce now. It throws in the back of the defender and we score. So the day before we train this, result is the game and the goal. I think this is a set piece, is the free kick. So we have the code word is PSV because we stole it from the first team of PSV, this free kick. So now we're training it before the training starts, so everybody's fresh and we just go through the set pieces. So we train it in 4 ways. We have the 11 aside and play 1 minute on. We have this before and after the game, and we have it isolated. So that's the four manners to train, 4 ways. Here we go. So it goes to the 2 on the right side. Try to pull it back or try to score. This is the last 16 at the World Cup in Brazil in November. We say PSV to each other. Everybody knows in which position he has to stand. You see, it's the same as the session. Keanu Hoover gonna head it. Player of Nigeria can control it. And we have the second ball and we score. So you see the result again. Before with the throw-in, this with the really important goal because we won that game and go up to the quarterfinals. This is another set piece, another free kick. Is at the end of the session. Yeah, go on. So the footage is telling everything, I think. So everybody knows what to do. This is the day before the game. So this is the game against Germany. The Blues run in. There's only one dropping. You see, it works. He scores a brilliant goal. So if you notice the statistics, do something with it. And if you have, there's another one, this is the under 20. I was assistant at under 20. We trained it also. It just goes next to the goal, but still was close. It doesn't work all the time, but and what we have, of course, I'm lucky to have a few players who are specialists. We always give them time before or after the session to shoot some balls. So we're not going right away into the bus after the session. No, we wait for 20, 25 minutes just to give them some time to actually train their set pieces with kicking the ball right away into the goal. What you see is you see 2 players standing in front of the wall of the opponent. Well, we think that those are the first 2 who play the second ball if it comes back from the goalie. Why they? Because they never are covered. The wall stays the wall and nobody will cover them. You can see it in the footage already now. Yeah. This is Hoover from Liverpool, already played first team. He scores, and you see the two guys running to the goal. This is Maatsen from Chelsea, left-footed. And then in the game against Italy in the final of the Euros, it's Hoover again. This is with the old rule, so we have somebody standing next to the goal, but he will also play the second ball, and everybody is ready for the second ball. So it hit the post, it comes back, and we scored 2-0. Last World Cup, we had also 30% of our goals scored by set pieces. So we scored 13, we scored 4 from set pieces. So really important for us to train. Sean, what do you want to do next? I see some questions, Q&A. Can I look for it? What they are?
If you want to go through and pick any ones you want out, that's good with me. If you want me to pull them, that's fine too. Some questions are coming in the chat as well. So whichever way you want to pull them, Peter.
Yeah, I just can't go through the questions. It's just on my screen now. I will just read them first, and then I'll go and answer them.
Sounds perfect. And for everyone in, I think, as you saw, some of the videos were lagging. What I'm going to do is I'll work to pull some of those videos and make them available on either YouTube or send them to you in an alternative way so you can get a better, clearer picture of them. On my end, as they were playing, they were pretty clear. So hopefully they'll be clear in the recording as well. But I'll update everyone on that as well.
And Sean, is everybody seeing the questions?
I'm not. Only you or I should be able to see the questions at the minute.
No, I see the questions, but is everybody seeing the questions?
Just you and I.
Okay, well, I will just say it. First question is, in this training exercise divided in 3 vertical zones, it is physically too less demanding for the players, or is the aim just tactically? Well, it's a good question. Of course, it's not the toughest training, but we want to just have short amount of time to train something together, because we only have 2 days and then we have to play. So it don't has to be tough at our sessions. So that's a good question. So the aim is really just tactically. And isn't it time inefficient? And what Eunice, what do you mean by which time? I think we win time with the warm-up, and also it's the next step in methodology to play with defenders who are really there and not with mannequins. So hopefully it's cleared now. Is it allowed to dribble into the higher zone for the blue team? It's really free to do whatever you like, you know, give the players freedom, because it's also in the game. So yeah. How do you define defending in a low block? How did you decide that would be the best for your team? Well, if you play 8 games in a short amount of time, you also have to rest in the game. So sometimes we just give the opponent the ball and come together in a low block, just to get a bit of power back, because we have put a lot of pressure on the defense, for instance. So that's why we come back in a low block. Or is that something aligned throughout the KNVB? Sorry, I will repeat this question. Is the low block defending philosophy specific to your age group, or is it something aligned throughout the KNVB? Well, it's something we talk about like every week with the coaches. So we choose for it in every team now. So when they go up an age group higher, then they know what they have to do. So yeah, at the moment, all coaches do it like this. What's your success ratio on set plays with limited preparation time? Well, that's why I told you already that there are a few ways to train it. You saw the throw-ins. There's just 5-minute one throw in, 5 minutes, another throw in. We play 11 aside and we play 1 minute after the set piece. The players really like it. The one goal is just on the half of the pitch, and it's free to touch, no tactical attached, but only the set piece is something that they really have to focus on. As you have limited time with your players, where lies your focus? Well, we always try to build up. One session is a build-up session. One session is high press, and set pieces is in both the sessions. So it's always those three, because we make tactical analysis of the opponent, and you know, from there we know how they press and how they build up, and that's the session's about. So we always start in defense, and then we go to attack. What individual tactics do you try to teach your center midfield in terms of movement? Well, that's also something really interesting, because the process is from the development of the players is at the clubs. And they are the best, because I'm the lucky one who always works with the best. So I'm a lucky coach. So they're already really good, but the process of that is mostly at the clubs. So, and sometimes we show them footage from opponent individually. So that's what we do. But normally we don't talk a lot about tactics in an individual way, because they already are so good. Next question. How you quantify the training load and intensity? Well, because we don't have a lot of time, the sessions are not long, and we always, that's when I work at the FA and not at a club, because of the games are in short amount of time and close after each other. We train really relaxed, so it's not about training hard, but training with your brains and tactically. So there's no quantify load intensity. Can you explain the throw in, 1 bounce and 2 bounce again? Yeah, of course. So if the taker bounced the ball 1 time, then the winger knows which one they're gonna do. He wants to do. So he has to go into the ball and make a deep run. When you do 2 bounces, the winger and the midfielder knows that they have to switch. So that's the explanation of it. So you communicate with the ball, actually. But now if we play international, we just say it in Dutch and then nobody understands. But if you play in a competition at your country, you can use those code words or code signs. Hi lads, who decides which routine to take on free kicks in the game? Is it the player or the coach, lad? Well, I have to say, Gary, if you see the footage really well, I thought they're not ready for the free kick I want to play. So I step out of the dugout and I was screaming to the player PSV, because that's our code word with the free kick. And you see the player who was a little bit later at the 2 on the right. We have to wait for that, and then so at that point it was me. But with corner kicks, they can decide themselves. And if there's a lot of people in the stadium, they don't hear me, so they have to decide their own. But now at the 16th final, there wasn't a lot of crowd, so they could hear me, and I can yell PSV, so everybody knew it. Good question from Craig. What preparation do you do for defensive set pieces? Well, our goalkeeper coach always sits together with the goalkeepers and decides what is the best way to defend the corners of the opponent when we see footage of the opponent. We also train that and play and continue playing 1 minute. So the attackers play the set piece, the defense has to take care of it, and then we continue playing for 1 minute. So we train that also. Do you show your players clips of the opposition routines? Yeah, we do that. So I asked, I already told you that. Yeah, we do that. What are your preferred coaching styles and coaching interventions? And do different coaches within the national team setup differ to your style? Of course, every coach is different than you and than me. So I'm like people oriented. I like to make a connection with the players. I'm not only talking about football with them. Also, I talk about their girlfriend or their hobbies. Yeah, I'm people oriented, and of course I also can be hard on them or tough on them if they don't do their work. But if they work hard, you know, I'm nice to have as a coach, I think, because I just want to have fun with them. But if they don't do their best, yeah, I'll be hard on them. Do you have a specific transition strategy for those players who enter the international environment for the first time? Yeah, well, of course, just the experience of it is for them is the experience of self. So they just have to go through it. I think that's the question. I can say to them, it's a higher level, it's a higher intensity, but they have to experience it. And when they experience it, they know, oh, I miss out a few extra, how do you call it, high intensity runs, or I have to train harder because I get too early tired in the game. So I have to I get my sub in the 60 minute, for example. So they have to experience it and then think about it and yeah, go on and train harder than before. Can you let us know about your process of analysis leading to a game? What are some of your challenges and how do you deal with them? Well, we always go out from our own strength. I don't know if it's a good sentence, but we have good players. So the way we play is really important. And the way we want to press and all those things, of course, we see on the analysis we have, and yeah, we make small adjustments to tackle the opponent, but we want to play high press, and the way we want to do that, we train it, and then they will know how to do that, and we make small adjustments to opponent like Nigeria, or when we play 2 days later Germany, we make small adjustments. Can you further explain your marking system when your players don't man mark but go between opponents, and what is key when your players change the opponent they are pressing? This is a really good question, because the players are really good and their attention is really high. We always say, look at the guy who's on the ball. So his body language will tell you which ball he's gonna play. So if you see that he's gonna play the ball to your area, you can leave your man and don't mark him anymore because you see where the ball goes. So the body language, the player on the ball is really important. So we tell him that, and everybody is in the focus of that. So that helps a lot. So they know when they have to can let go of their man. How would you describe your playing style? Well, it's something we try we play for the audience, so it has to be creative, it has to be with high intensity, and we try to score a lot of goals and make nice actions and everything. So yeah, I always tell the players before we go out, you know, guys, have fun and show the audience nice things, because you can play really good. So yeah, I don't know how you describe it, but we get some results the last years with the team. So yeah, we're doing well with that style. Do you have a specific throwing coach? No, I do it all by myself, but I have time to travel a lot. So I saw the coach of the set pieces coach of Michelin 2 times now, and he got me inspired really, really, really. So I'm looking at Sarri, for instance. His set pieces are great at Napoli. I have a really nice document about it. And yeah, I just try to learn from it every day and try to watch and think my own creativity, your own sauce. I don't know if that's good English, but try to be creative and try to come up with nice set pieces, but also try to come up with nice way to train it. That's what we do also. Can you name the 2 principles of play you mentioned in the presentation game? Well, what you hear the last few years now is that everybody has principles of play. So for instance, in transition to defend, you have the 5-second rule or the 3-second rule. So that's one principle of transition to defend. That's one who pops up now for me. So that's the answer for that. What content would you include when presenting at the club? Well, it's actually the same like I show you now. The footage is then really tight and really good. So yeah, I show just the experience we have on big tournaments, like the road to the championship of the Euros. I show them make little clips of their players and we discuss it then. And so I used PPT, like I don't know if that's also the same with you. What are the other attacking tactics used, like inverted winger, etc.? Well, I can show you, but we play when we have the ball with the goalie. We play with 3 defenders. We play 1 pivot. Then we have like 5 players and then 1 striker. So it's 1-3-1-5-1. So the wingers go. The right and left back go up. We play with 3 10s. Both wingers come inside, and we have 1 striker. So, do you see the kickoff as a way of gaining advantage as a set piece? To add, if you're looking to control the game or set an objective, tempo, or play the second or third phase in a particular area? Really good question. I called Sorry already, but their kickoffs are really, really good. You see right away the high intensity they want to bring in the game. They press the kickoff. They play it long. They press with a few players. They have the second ball and put it right in phase 3. So yeah, and the crowd is reacting on it, especially when they play at home. It's great to see. But also kickoff defense, they train. So it's, yeah. Do you select your style of play formation based on the profiles of the players or the philosophy of the football association? Well, it's a bit of both. We are a small country, but we are really adventurous. If you see our history, but also the way we want to play. In 72, we already we play a bit the same like then, and we continue playing like that, like adventurous. And of course, at the academies, they do great jobs by creating those players. So yeah, we have players who can play it, and it's also the philosophy of the football association. Do you prepare players on other formations in the national youth team, or is it always 4-3-3? Well, we play when we start 4-3-3, but what I explained earlier, when we have the ball, we play with 3 in the back, 1 pivot, 5 higher up. So with 3 10s and both right and left back high up and a striker. So it can switch when we have the ball, and in defense it's a low block 4-4-2. So yeah, but at the start it's 4-3-3. How much of player development time revolves around psychology? Well, because sometimes with a big tournament we're like 30 days away, then you can talk more with the player. But yeah, mostly we don't have a lot of time. It's also in the process at the club. But yeah, we show them. For instance, now you have The Last Dance from Michael Jordan. So we show them some footage of that when he's having a hard time, but still try to win. Yeah, and we show also the great footballers interviews, and we make short clips of it and we show them. So yeah, we try to influence them. Next question. When selecting players with so much talent, do you look at what players can bring towards the match you play against, or do you also look at players who have not yet made their steps in national setup? Well, what we have at the Dutch FA is that we have like a shadow team, that our players are physically not strong enough yet, but we see the talent. So we have the first 20, 25, they're actually in the national team, and we have a shadow team for players who are not physically grown yet. So that's the way we try to solve that. And they play actually also an international game, and we have like a 2-day trial session with them. So they get a lot of attention too. Are the players in the team selected according to the position at the club level or determined by you? Of course, there's a little bit of both. The player who does the best at his position is going to play in the national team, also in that position. But sometimes I see it different than the club, and I put him in a different position. For instance, Maatse from Chelsea plays left back at Chelsea, but in our system he's playing a control midfielder. So holding midfielder is that. So that's a bit different, but I think he's the best there for us. Next question. Attending the club sessions and participating within them shows a willingness of coaches to work together for the good of the players. What are some of the advantages and disadvantages of this? Do you meet with much resistance from club coaches? Well, sometimes it's hard because the players who play abroad need to travel a lot, and the schedule doesn't always fit. But we tried at the Dutch FA to play in the window, so the international window, when all the teams of Europe play against each other. We also play the youth games, so then it's easier to release them for the clubs. And what I said before, we also visit the clubs, and that gives us the opportunity to talk to the coaches and create a bond, and you know, that we're on the same page about things, and it really helps. And it's easier to talk than on the phone. If we had a game, we call them and say, okay, you did well, we worked on this and this and this, and then yeah, it's good. So good question. We try to play in the window, international window, so we don't have a lot of bother with the schedule of the club. When deciding on a squad, do you pick the best players and find a system formation that works, or do you choose the most effective players for your preferred system formation? Well, when we went to the World Cup, I wanted to have a big striker who can play in the team when we are 1-0 behind, and we want to play with 4 strikers and bring the long ball. So especially for the World Cup, I brought that player with those specific characteristics. So this is a hard word for me. So with that player profile. So that is when you go to a World Cup and try to win it. So it wasn't, I think, the best player, but for that system, it's only 10 minutes to play, and we want to play to get a draw, to get a win, or if we needed a win, then we put him in, and yeah, so that was a special kind of player who wasn't the best, I think, but for that moment in the game, he was. What are your principles of attack in the mid third and the final third to generate scoring chances? Well, we have a few. I'm not want to tell everything because no, but at the final third, if you see the footage and the video runs well, you can see it. So it's the three options we have, and when we're on the back line, we always lay it back to the 18-yard line. So the midfielder or the striker who's there can have an easy goal. You can see a few goals of that in the footage. Yeah, that's the principles of attack we have in the final third. So, and we want to create an overload. That's one of our principles of attack. We want to create a +1 everywhere on the pitch. So that's one another secret of our principle of attack. Can you say something about your national team setup? When do you start selecting players? How many players is in your camp? How often do you meet? Well, when do we start selecting players? When they are under 14. So then they're the first time together for a national team. The amount of players is 20 plus 3. So it's 10 like football players and 3 goalkeepers. How often do we meet? Well, we have like 4 or 3 big tournaments, and in between we have like 3 two-day trials. So we don't have a lot of time to work together, but it's always nice to see those guys. What are the biggest things you have to adapt to as a coach moving from the club football to international football, other than the time spent on the training ground? Yeah, of course, I missed the sessions to be on the pitch every day, but it is the pressure you have on the time schedule. So you don't have a lot of time. And what do you actually gonna train to get the team doing the same thing in a game? So that was the main thing to adapt to. So in a short amount of time, get the players ready to do something together in a game. Since you have another question, sorry. Since you have very less amount of time, how many players you keep for backup in your age group, or for all age groups? How difficult it gets for a player to just come in and have to play next match? I don't understand it really good, but well, maybe the answer is like we have the luck that the players are really well, so they can adapt really quick, and they know a lot about football already. So when a player comes in, he's good. I only have to give him confidence and say that he's capable of doing it. And with good players around you, you're gonna play also good. It's also and then it's, can he handle the pressure? That's up to him. But I can help with that. Do you create attacking set pieces dependent upon opposition weaknesses, or do you have fixed set pieces that you use no matter what the opposition weakness is? Yeah, that's a good question. We always watch the footage of the opponent. If they play zone defense with the corner, we try to pull that out. So we take a short corner with 4 or 5. So they have to leave the zone of that, how do you call it, zone defense. So they get insecure, then we bring the ball, and then we try to score. So it's always from opposition weaknesses or create weaknesses. How do you encourage decision-making in training session? Just by maximum resistance. So defense, maximum, everything with pressure. So with time, with players, that's goes by itself. So I don't have to encourage, because the session is so made that it's already there. How do you develop the intelligence of your players, individual and collective intelligence? Well, of course you tell them things by their own experience you have in doing smart things in games, but they have to experience also in high level games or games where they get the experience that a player does something to them. and they think, wow, that was smart, my opponent did. So in the experience of the game in high level, they get more intelligence, and we can give them that game because we play against the best of the other countries. So, and also, I'm not in the process. It's at the club because they train there every day. We can give them the games, but not the sessions like every day. So that's hard. How much information coaching do you do during a game? What type of messages do you communicate to the players? Well, we have 2 days before the game, we have a meeting presentation of 10 minutes from the opponent. That's my assistant does that. So it's a tactical meeting with the players. Then we have set pieces presentation before the game, the day before the game. And then in the morning, if we play in the evening, we have a 5-minute presentation of what we want to do in the way we want to play. So it's short sets of presentations, not an overload of information, because we have the best players of the country, and so we trust them in that. And before the game, I don't say much. I wish them good luck and enjoy themselves. So not an overload on information, because I think you have to show confidence and that they are good. So do you have some team confidence examples you used with the players during a tournament or leading up to a tournament? Yeah, I showed them some footage of want to be the best, and it was with Zlatan, with Djokovic, with another sport. So, and you hope that they get triggered and they want to have the same. So with Michael Jordan now, it's just good to show them some short clips of top players in any kind of sport. They get like enthusiastic and try to be the same. So that's what we do. I hope you mean that. In the way of play, transition drills, will you focus on types of transition, defense to attack to defense, or vary session to session? Well, if you train one side, you also train the other side. So, but for yourself, it's more clear to stick with one and stick with coaching and stick with the principles of, for example, defense to attack, the transition. So you have your principles clear, and you coach on the pitch only the principle of defense to attack. Of course, the game in the session goes on from transition attack to defend, but you don't say anything about that. Then it's more clear for the players. They only hear the principles of defense to attack. That's what you do. That's what you want to train. Do you step in if breaking down due to the defense shape or attack move? Yeah, sometimes I do that, but mostly I just let it play and come back after when we show clips of the training, or I just go to the player and just walk by him and just say something about his decision. Kevin Flanagan, good question. Do you work on lower block defender to counterattack? We always think of the counterattack. So when we have a set piece in defense, we always be sharp on counterattack. But also when we play a low block, we know where to press. We provoke them to that side, and then we're off to counterattack. If you do any good drills, yes, of course, but I can show you now because I don't have a lot of time anymore. So that's maybe another time. Do you intend to work back in club football? If so, having coached an international level, are there any things you would do differently back in a club environment? No, I think I'm going to be the same. And of course, I want to go back. I'm going for my pro license next year. So when I finish that, I go back to a club and hopefully try to coach at the highest level. Yeah, I think I will give the staff more responsible because when we go to a tournament, we have 18 people of staff, and you're more the manager. And yeah, I think the people who get responsible for their department, I see them grow when I give them the trust, and so I will give the assistants more space to work on the session, and I will be the manager who will check everything. So yeah, I will do things differently during the game. Sean, if you want to break, then it's all right, you know.
A couple more, Peter, and then I had a couple of questions for you myself, and then I think we can set the wrap up. Yeah,
Shall we
I'll read a couple more now, and then I'll jump in.
Should we do 2 more questions and then go back to you?
Perfect, sounds good.
Okay. During the game, what are you watching, looking forward to discuss with the players at halftime? Well, we just analyze things. I have 2 assistants and a goalkeeper. We just analyze things. The video assistant is in the stands, and he comes down with the laptop, so we can show players individual some things. But of course, we say little things like it's just small things, and if things don't go well, we just want to adapt to it, and we show it on a tactical board. So that's what we do. But it's just looking and watching what happens in the first half. What is the logic behind continuing to play for 1 minute after every set piece in training? It's a good question to finish it off. Just to make it fun, because if you go through every set piece you have, the players are thinking, well, okay, another one and another one. And if they can play just for 1 minute and there's no tactical things attached, it's just nice to play, you know. So you take a set piece and you play for 1 minute on. It's just nice. So we try to make that sessions nice. That's the question for it. Sean.
Perfect. Thank you, Peter, and thank you guys for all of those questions. They were really some fantastically insightful questions there that I think you answered really well, that we can all take with us. But I guess my couple of questions for you, Peter, were these. We had a few questions that were geared towards development. And obviously, from your role and your perspective, you have limited time with these players, and as you mentioned, they're being developed primarily at their clubs in that environment. Yeah. So when it comes to preparing for international games or international tournaments, do you consider yourself more of a manager, managing relationships, making sure that all of these players coming from different cultures are able to come together for a common goal, when their individual goals and team goals at their clubs may be very different to your goal when you get them in for the period of time that you have them? Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's true. Because what you said before already, we don't have a lot of time. And no, what we do is that we visit the clubs and try to see the players, create a bond in that way. So join them for 3 days or 2 days, not only in Holland, but also abroad. So bonding, you do it like that. And when they come in, you know, they can play like the best. So, and of course we set our goals, because at the beginning of the season, we have one evening, and there we set our goals for if we have a tournament at the end of the year, or the qualification. So we want to have, because if a top sporter doesn't have goals, it's not going to work. So we set our goals together. And the nice thing was that 2 years ago we started with this group, and I was the lucky one who continued working with those guys for 2 years. They set 3 goals. It was qualification for the Euros, win the Euros, and win the World Cup. So yeah, it was pretty nice that they said that, because I said to them, if you set these goals, you have to behave like this. So I could come back on it every time they didn't do their best sometimes at the session, you know. So I said, stop. You set those goals, you need to create another behavior, because otherwise we don't make it. And the funny thing is, we qualified really well. We won the Euros with the most goals, and with 49 goals in the qualification plus the Euros. So that was great. And yeah, sadly we didn't make it in the final to the final in the World Cup. But yeah, I was so proud of these guys that we almost achieved our goals. But what I said before, if you don't set your goals with top sporters, you're never gonna go anywhere.
You mentioned having the goal setting and the players involved in that process. Does that become a challenge when it's an international environment where the group can change kind of very quickly across that 2-year period? You could have players getting promoted up into the older teams. You could have players who don't achieve their developmental goals, and so they're no longer part of the group. So is it kind of retaining a core of leaders through that 2-year period to help to ensure that everyone understands and can continue those goals?
Well, I think we have a lot of good players coming up, and we have a lot of players still in the same age. I can when we were starting this cycles with the 2 years with the Euros and the World Cup, we lost 2 players to under 19. But it's not about me. It's about it was Ryan Gravenbergs playing first team Ajax and Mo Iataren playing PSV on the first team PSV. So no, I was happy for those guys that they go up in under 19 because they will be better players. And in the end, it's about the first team of Holland, you know, where they have to play, and that's the most important because the whole country is behind it. And it's not about Peter van der Veen, the coach of under 17. It's about the players. So yeah, of course. And they were texting us like, "Oh, we want to join for the final, or we want to join to the Euros." But yeah, we decided to have those 2 players to play 2 years up because it's better for them, and they understand, and the clubs understand. So yeah.
You mentioned the building relationships with the clubs. In terms of the Dutch FA, and I guess your involvement with that, how involved are you in helping those maybe smaller clubs, not the super clubs, the Ajaxes and the PSVs, in terms of structuring their youth development so it all comes together in this national team, which is cohesive and attacking and has this very distinct style of play? Do you guys get really involved in helping them with their youth development at the younger age groups as well?
Yeah. We also go to the small clubs. Just then it's maybe for 1 day, but we have presentations also there. We also be on the pitch, and yeah, that's what we do also. And we arrange meetings in Zeist for all those clubs, and we have presentations there to show them the way we work. And with the education, the coach educations, we as coaches also show them our experience in our international games. So we show also to those UEFA C, B, and A different levels. We show our experience, and it's just part of our jobs. And it's so nice. Sometimes we're there with 100 coaches, and it's just nice to see them react on things, and you see them writing in their books, and they take it with them to their club, and then it's good, you know. You try to help each other and help to put the Dutch football to a higher level.
Here's my last question for you. Last year we had Paul Simpson, the England under-19 head coach, who also coached in the World Cup. And I think it's a very different element, and there's a very different, I guess, approach required for a tournament, especially with younger players who are maybe less used to being away from home for that period of time. What do you think is the most important part of managing a group through that period, especially when it's a group that has goals of being very successful?
Yeah, well, that you have to have fun. So we laugh a lot. Sometimes you have to do like this because they do something, but yeah, things happen. You have to laugh and you make a joke of it because every day is the same. You get up at 8, you have breakfast, you go to the training session, you rest a bit, they go to study. We prepare the games, we prepare the sessions, you have lunch, then and so on and so on. So we make nice evenings, we do quiz, it's also the most important game for us was the game against America. But the day before that, we just did a foot volley tournament. We just have fun and everybody was laughing. And there was a lot of pressure on that game for us because we had a big mouth and said we want to become World Cup champion. And yeah, we were close by going home. So yeah, we just had fun the day before, and then yeah, it's I think fun is the biggest thing to continue when you go away for a long time.
Yeah, I agree. And from me, Peter, again, I just want to take this opportunity to say a huge thank you to you for taking the time and you know, sharing your experiences and your expertise in this. We already had some terrific feedback from the attendees, and obviously we had a lot of questions. So a big thank you from me and to all of you guys who joined us today. Thank you for, you know, taking the time to want development. It's really important that we all are on the same path there as well.
Yeah. So I just want to say something. One thing: if your answer isn't answered, of your question, sorry, your question isn't answered, maybe you can send them to me, Sean, and if they put their email on underneath it, I will come back to them and answer the question. Because in this time I have a bit of spare time, so I got time enough to answer them. So Sean, I don't want to give you extra work, but maybe you want to do that. So
yeah, for you guys who are on the screen now, you can see Peter's email as well. But if anyone wants to forward emails to me of questions,
yeah,
I can certainly forward them on.
They can email me and still ask if the question isn't answered. I will come back to them if they send me the email. So no worries, and hopefully they get one or two things about the presentation to improve their own training sessions or coaching. That would be nice.
Yeah, and for everyone who did find the videos were lagging a little bit, I'll work to pull those and make them available with a link to you guys through some just YouTube videos, if that's good with Peter, so you guys can see those in action, as it lagged a little bit today. So yeah, if you guys do have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me. Peter's got his email on here if you need to reach him directly. But if you guys can do whatever you want to do, just let us know. And again, big thank you to Peter, and big thank you to all you guys for joining us.
Thank you very much for your time.